Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Trenda Hackett, CPA. I am your web CPA, and I'm with the Virtual Tax Clinic. And today is the first video in the launch of the tax playbook. That's right. After 30 years in the tax field, I designed this YouTube channel with you in mind. The tax playbook will be your premier tax resource and playbook for all things taxes. After over 30 years, or at least 30 years in the business, in the field, I understand that individuals, businesses, and nonprofits, you all have different tax needs. So if you stick with me, you subscribe, you share this with your family and your friends, you're going to be empowered, you're going to be equipped with the knowledge and the tools that you need to succeed in your taxes. So we're going to get into our subject on today, and we're going to be talking about stimulus payments. The title of this video is Stimulus or No Stimulus, Now What? I want you to know how to handle your stimulus on your tax return, because some of you got your full stimulus, or some of you may have gotten a partial payment of your stimulus, and some of you may not have gotten no stimulus at all. But guess what we've been getting the calls about? Hey, I didn't get my stimulus payment. Can you help me? Well, this video is going to be able to help you, and this is going to be a great resource that you can share with somebody else. I don't know about you, but I get a lot of questions, and sometimes people just ask questions, and sometimes people will think you know everything. But this video will make you look like you know a lot. You can just point them to the video, or if you're on here, you can share the information that you got from this video with somebody else, and you can help them. And here again, this video and this YouTube channel was designed with you in mind. It's my way of celebrating 30 years in taxes. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around that, but it's just been amazing, and I thank God for it. So let's get into our topic on today. Stimulus or no stimulus, now what? In this video, I'm going to address three scenarios. What you need to do if you receive your full stimulus, if you receive your partial stimulus, or if you receive no stimulus at all. First of all, there were 2 rounds of stimulus payments. Now, you'll hear them called stimulus payment. You may see an acronym called EIP. That's still your stimulus payment. It's the economic impact payment. And this year, there were 2 rounds of stimulus payments. The first round was a $1,200 payment to each individual, or a $2,400 payment for a joint return, and $500 per dependent on your either 2018 or your 2019 return. Now, there was some income limits to where how much stimulus you could get, and based on your income, either you got part of that stimulus, or you got a reduced stimulus, or you may not have got no stimulus at all. But here again, all is not lost. Now, some of you may have gotten the second round of stimulus. The second round of stimulus was released on December the 29th, 2020. They started mailing those checks out. And this round of stimulus, it was $600 per individual and $600 per dependent. So the question is, where is my stimulus if you didn't get it? What do I need to do with it if I did get it? The questions we've been getting in the virtual tax clinic is, do I have to pay taxes on my stimulus? Number one, so write this down or record this. Number one, what do you need to do if you receive both stimulus payments? EIP 1, your economic impact payment 1, or your economic impact payment 2. If you receive both of those, guess what you need to do on your tax return? You don't really do anything. Your tax return, you're going to have this recovery rebate worksheet. You're going to check the box and say, I got my full stimulus, and you're fine. You don't have to pay taxes on it. So some of you may have gotten part of your stimulus in advance because maybe your income may have been maybe a little higher, and because of when your income got to that certain threshold, then you got a reduced stimulus. Some of you may have gotten the stimulus for yourself individually, but you didn't get it for your dependents. Guess what? You can do that. You can get your stimulus on your tax return. But the second round of stimulus, it was based on your 2019 return. So some of you may not have gotten your stimulus if you hadn't filed your 2019 return. So the first stimulus was based on either your 2018 or your 2019 return. Second stimulus was based on your 2019 return. So I've talked about what do you need to do if you got both stimulus payments. You got the full stimulus payment. You'll need that information when you file your tax return. If you don't know whether or not you got the full stimulus payment, you can either go onto the IRS website at www.irs.gov. You can go into your tax account. You can set up to log into your own tax account. You can also check the IRS's Get Payment tool, and it's going to give you the status of your first stimulus payment and your second stimulus payment. That information your preparer will need in order to do your tax return. Now, if you got your full stimulus payment or a part stimulus payment, the IRS also sent a letter in the mail to you that you should have kept. But I don't know, many of you may not have kept your letter, you may have misplaced it. But here again, like I said, all is not lost. You can get that information by going to the IRS website. Here again at www.irs.gov. You want to look at view your tax account. You'll need to put some information in there to set up your username and your password. And you can be able to get in there and see how much of a stimulus that you received. Or you can look at the Get Payment tool, put your name, your social security number, your address, and your date of birth in there, and it'll give you the status. Now let's talk about those of you that may have gotten partial stimulus payment. Some of you may have gotten the first stimulus payment, but you didn't get the second one. Or some of you may have gotten both, but you didn't get the full amount for the $1,200 or the $2,400 for joint, or you didn't get the $500 in the first round for each of your dependents, or you didn't get the $600 in the second round for each of your dependents. Anyway, you got a partial amount. What do? You need to handle that on your tax return. Here again, you want to take that letter that you got in the mail from the IRS. When you got your partial stimulus payment, they gave you the amount that you received. But if you don't know that amount, you can go to the IRS website, find out what your amount is, give it to your preparer. They're going to put it in their recovery rebate worksheet, and they're going to figure it out, and you will get your stimulus payment then. Now, a lot of you have been reaching out to me, especially those of you that don't file at all, or those of you that get disability, Social Security, or veterans benefits, especially on the second round of payment. There are a lot of you that did not get it. All is not lost. I know you're not used to filing a tax return, but if you want to get your stimulus payment, you have to file a tax return, and you're only filing to get your stimulus payment. Your income is going to be zero, but at the end, you'll have a refund of whatever the amount of stimulus payment that you're entitled to. So if you didn't get your stimulus payment, you can file your tax return. You can put your dependents on your tax return, and what the IRS will do, they'll send you the stimulus payment based on the first stimulus payment and the second stimulus payment, and you'll get that on your 2020 tax return. You can put you have yourself on there. Now remember this on your dependents. They have to be under the age of 17, and they have to be your dependent. You have to claim them as a dependent on your tax return. Now, some of you may not have gotten the stimulus payment because you yourself have been claimed as a dependent on somebody else's return. So you may want to check that. You want to check to see if anybody else claimed you, but you can always go to your IRS tax account and you can see what's going on. Just like you can get your credit report, you can get your tax account from the IRS. So let's talk about those of you that didn't receive the stimulus payment at all. Here again, you want to file a 2020 tax return, and you let your preparer know that you did not receive the stimulus payment. You check your account to make sure you did not receive the stimulus payment. You can file it and you can get it with your tax return. But here's the little trick. Some of you may not have received your stimulus payment. But when you go and you check the IRS tool online, you check your IRS account, and the IRS says that your payment has been released. Your payment has either been mailed or it's been placed in your bank account. But you're saying, I didn't get anything. Now, where you're going to run into the problem that you won't be able to claim that stimulus payment on your tax return if the IRS system is saying that you got it. What you're going to have to do, you're going to have to go one step further and do what's called a payment tracer. A payment tracer. Here again, if you're just getting on, if you did not receive your stimulus payment and the IRS shows that the payment was mailed or either released to you, you won't be able to file the tax return and get it, because when you file that tax return, the system is going to say you already got it. But if you know you didn't get it, it could have been a check lost in the mail or the deposit got redirected to the wrong place, you have to take the steps to do a payment tracer. To request a payment trace on your economic impact payment or your stimulus payment, you may have gotten the first one, or you may not have gotten the second one, or you may not have gotten the first one and you received the second one. And as I said, these are the steps that you need to take. So you need to request a payment trace if you go on the IRS website and you select the Get My Payment tool to get the status of your stimulus payment. If the IRS is showing that either one of your stimulus payments have been mailed or it's been deposited into the bank and you have not received it, here again, you need to request a payment trace. What do you need to do? Step one, there are two ways you can do it. You can either call the IRS, pick up the phone, call the IRS, give them the information, or you can go to the IRS website, look up forms and instructions, and locate the form 3911. Here again, the form 3911. You can do one or the other, but not both. So if you choose to call the IRS, the number you need to call is 1-800-919-9835. And we're going to put it on the screen. Here again, that number is 1-800-919-9835. The IRS is going to ask you that information that you're going to already know. And from there, they will start the payment trace. Now, what does that mean for you on your tax return? That means that you won't be able to get your stimulus payment right now, because the IRS has to go trace the payment to see what happened to the payment that they released. And once they locate the funds, they will communicate back to you how the funds were dispersed, or if the check has not been cashed, they will reverse the check and they will release you the stimulus payment. Now, if you decide to fill out the form 3911, on the instructions on the form, there's a number you can fax it to, or there's an address that you can mail it to. But let me caution you, if it's on a joint return, both spouses need to sign the form 3911 to start the refund trace. So I know we've shared a lot, but I want to recap. So, stimulus or no stimulus, now what? Number one, if you receive both of your stimulus payments, EIP1 and EIP2, you receive the full amounts. When you do your tax return, you let your preparer know. You go into your IRS account to verify that you received the full amount. You check a box on your tax return, and that's all you need to do. If you received a partial stimulus payment, meaning because of your 2019 or your 2018 income, your stimulus payment might have been reduced, but you're saying my 2020 income is much lower now. Now I could possibly qualify for the full amount of the payments. Here again, that's called the Recovery Rebate Worksheet on your tax return. The key thing you need to know to give your preparer is how much of your stimulus payment that you receive. If you lost your letter that the IRS sent you to show how much your payment was. You can go to your IRS account online, see what that amount was, give it to your preparer, and they will handle the rest. If you did not receive a stimulus payment at all, if you did not receive a stimulus payment at all, and number one, the IRS website or the payment tool on the IRS website is showing that you didn't get it at all, you can get your stimulus payment by filing your 2020 tax return. Here again, let your preparer know that I didn't receive either one of the stimulus payments, or I received this one and not the other one. You still need to let them know how much did you receive. If you didn't receive anything, it's going to be zero. When they work up your taxes, you'll get your stimulus payment then. Now, if you did not receive your stimulus payment, and the IRS system is indicating that you did receive a payment or they released the payment to you, you have to do what's called a payment trace. You call the IRS at the number that I gave, 1-800-919-9835, and request a payment trace. The IRS will trace down the payment and you will get your stimulus payment later. Now, that's all I have for you today. I don't want to give you too much at one time, but I want you to come back next week. I'm going to be talking about some really more cool stuff, tax stuff, simple tax strategies that you can use to win in your taxes. But guess what? This channel was designed for you. If you have questions, put them in the comment, or you can visit our website at www.virtualtaxclinic.com. Hit the Get Started button. And if you have a question, type your questions there. We want to know what your questions are because that helps us to help you. You want to know the strategies. You want to know the moves that you need to make to win in your taxes. And here again, this YouTube channel, the Tax Playbook, was designed with you in mind to help you alleviate stress, to help you solve your IRS problems, to help you make sound decisions, to give you that information that you need to succeed. Here again, no question is off limit. Put your questions in the comment. We'll pick them up, and who knows, your question may be addressed on the next video. Again, this is your premier resource for all things taxes for individuals. We're going to talk about stuff for businesses to help you save money on your taxes, and also for nonprofits. All right, that's all I have for today. Looking forward to coming back again next week. But until then, be sure to get the word out and tell your friends, your families, anybody to subscribe to this channel. Have an amazing week. Bye-bye.